I started that and I have to start over again. Sorry, guys. Good day. So, I'm going to go into the bubble today because I'm going to be referencing the bubble a lot in a lot of things that I go into later on. And this is what I mean by the bubble. The bubble is this, it's not even a selfishness. It's not even saying that, oh, this is a selfish person. It's just they're not getting outside of what they believe. So the bubble has to deal with cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is very simply the mental stress that stress is a good thing or a bad thing. It's a motivator or it could be detrimental. Stresses are stresses. Everybody considers them to be negative. They're not all negative. But the mental stress of dealing with information or a viewpoint or data that is in opposition of your current view or beliefs or morals. So we're going to take the idea of a donut and we're going to go through the 4 different ways that psychologists believe that people can deal with cognitive dissonance in terms of a donut. So let's say you're on a diet and you're confronted with a donut. There are 4 ways to deal with this situation. So you're on a diet, you shouldn't want the donut, but you want the donut, but you're on a diet. So how does your brain process this conflicting thought? The first one is acceptance. Don't have the donut. I accept that this donut is not going with my views and my goals, so I will not have it. The second one is to justify. I can cheat on my diet like once in a while. It's not a bad thing. It's as long as I keep it in check. Now you're trying to justify that. The third is balancing, where you say, I want to have this donut really badly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out tomorrow a little bit extra to work off all that the donut did to my diet and continue on my diet, but still enjoy the donut. And the last one is to straight up lie. All right, lie to yourself. It's not as unhealthy as people say it is. Well, this is where most people are. You can confront them with the nutritional facts, and they're still going to say, "Yeah, I don't really believe that because I really want the donut." So I'm going to throw away all type of facts and any sort of evidence that you're giving to me because I want the donuts. I shouldn't have the donut, but I want the donut. So that's part of it. The other part of the bubble is the people are unable to see the other perspectives of a situation, and that's because we're limited to the we're limited to the extent of our imaginations. This is what I mean by that. So let me explain. I've had a lot of people ask, just in general, like, why do people cheat? Can't answer that question. People are people. But how about this? Why do people think it's okay to cheat? You're in a relationship and you shouldn't do it, but you do it anyway. So what happened in between there that caused that decision to be made? So a lot of the time, the person who's cheating or does this action is saying to themselves, I can handle the consequences of my actions. Whatever comes out of this, I can handle it. If my wife, let's just put it this way, if my wife finds out and is mad, I can handle that. I can handle that consequence. If my wife is mad and wants a divorce, I can handle that. If my wife gets mad and slashes my tires, I can handle that. I can handle the consequences of this action, knowing that it's not the right action, but whatever consequences come from that, I can handle that. Here's the problem. You're limited by your own imagination when it comes to what can happen. If you go and you just say, I'm going to cheat on my wife because I can handle any situation that comes out of it and any consequence that comes out of it, are you thinking about what if she's so distraught she kills herself? Can you handle that situation? Did you even think about that situation? What if she's so distraught that she goes and shoots up a fucking post office or a store? Can you handle the consequences of that? No, because you didn't even put that in your head as a possible consequence. But guess what? It's a possibility. You're limited to where it goes. How about this? You go and you cheat on your wife and you say, I can handle whatever consequence. But let's say that person, your wife, is so distraught. She gets a divorce. She goes and she gets really bad. She gets depressed. She goes and starts doing heroin. And she gets really, really down there and really down that rabbit hole. And 10 years later, you happen to run into her in the street and you see how messed up her life is and how bad. Are you going to be emotionally and mentally prepared to deal with that situation, to deal with that consequence? No, because you didn't think of that. There are so many more consequences that you didn't really think of. You didn't put in, you take into account. So according to you, this bad action that you've done, you can handle whatever consequence comes through that, but you're not thinking past yourself. You're not thinking about how it's affecting the other person if you go and you cheated on this person. You're not thinking about how it's going to affect you if later on down the line you see your ex-wife on the street going, I'll blow you for $20. Come on. Really? Have you thought about that? That's the bubble. That's what I'm talking about. And it doesn't have to necessarily be something that gigantic. But you have to understand the consequences of your actions and the reactions that you're going to have. Victoria's mom had a line, and my friend Cindy has a line that action causes reaction. You don't always know what that reaction is going to be. So when you choose your action, be ready for any reaction because people are unique and they're going to handle it in different situations. So let's take it not so far up here with the whole cheating thing. So let's bring it down. Littering. Something very simple. Well, people throw things outside their car window. They don't care. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to maybe go down into the drains or somebody's going to have to clean it up, but it's not me. Okay. How did you think that maybe it might be a good idea to take a plastic bag that you got from CVS or somewhere and put it on your car and just throw your garbage in there little by little, and when you get to a point, you just throw it out. I have seen people with that bag literally open their car door and throw it in the street because they're not understanding the impact that has. The limitation of their imagination. What if that debris, how about it rains and somebody's trying to swerve out of the way and now that tire slips on your compressed Wendy's bag and spins around and fucking hits a kid, causes a four car pileup. You didn't think about that. You didn't think that could be a consequence of your selfish action or nonchalant action, whatever you want to call it. It's a small action. Littering is a very small boom, whatever. You've stopped thinking. You stopped thinking before you even did it. And it's not necessarily selfishness. It's that you're in this bubble. You didn't really think about what that could mean. Cashiers. You go, anybody in the service industry in general, I've done it. People treat us like shit because they're having a bad day. They woke up and they're having a bad day and they're not happy until they make somebody else's day a bad day, or they're late. It's not, first off, I'm going to say this. I've been saying this for years. It's not my fault that you didn't wake up 5 minutes sooner. That's your fault. All right. If you're in a rush and I get to go work and that's your fucking fault. That's not the guy who's giving you your cigarettes and your coffee in the morning. It's not his fault. It's not the people in front of you, three or four people in front of you in the line's fault. It's your fault for not being prepared enough. But that's my own little fucking thing. So a smile has a ripple effect, and a frown has a ripple effect. And you don't know what other people are going through. You don't know what it is that you go, oh, what the fuck, man? Why is this taking so long? That could destroy a person. Somebody could be on their last straw, and you come in and you have a problem with timing, or oh, you got the wrong cigarettes. What the fuck? Are you stupid? That could be the one thing that leads to their suicide. We're taking an extreme. Now let's go back. That could be the thing that reining it in. That could be the thing that pisses them off so much that they go and they smack their wife. That could be the thing that they pisses them off so much that they yell at their kid for no reason. Now that kid, that wife, that person, whatever, it's now that person is not having a bad day. And it's going to ripple out. Let's say it's that kid. The next day in school, he's going to act out and he's going to bully another kid. And now that kid is having a bad day and he's going home and he's crying. And he's crying because you didn't get your shit in time. This is the bubble. It's not necessarily a selfish thing. It's not a self-centered thing. It's just that people don't think what their actions create outside of themselves. That's the bubble. That's what I'm talking about. I want to quickly get into this one aspect because I've seen so much back and forth about this. So that video, the guy says, "Oh, this is the McDonald's stand for people who don't tip on DoorDash, and it's full, and your food is cold, and nobody wants to take that." And I've seen the other side now. Because I know about the DoorDash. The girl does the DoorDash. And so I go ride with her sometimes. I see it all. Trust me. So now we've got the other side saying things like, it's your fucking job. No, it's not. They're independent contractors. They're self-employed. If they choose not to do a job, that's their choice. If you call a plumber because your pipes are broken and they say, it's gonna run you like $700, and you go, no, I'm gonna do it for $400. He's gonna walk away. Are you mad at him for walking away? I mean, a little bit, but it's fucking insulting. So you order and you see on your side, oh, it's gonna be a $4.99 delivery fee. That they don't get that. They don't get that. You're not thinking about this. They get a portion of that. Let's say they get $3 or even $4 because the company needs to pay customer service. They need to pay for their own infrastructure and their own software and real-time stuff. They have to pay shit. So they take some of that. The Dasher does not get all of that. So now let's take an example. Let's say it's 8 miles to get from McDonald's to your house. They have to drive to the McDonald's first. Then they have to drive to your house. Then they have to drop it off. Then they have to drive back to another McDonald's or wherever. So let's say it takes 20 minutes for them to get that stuff, pick it up and deliver it to your house for a measly $3. And they run and do that three times. That's $9 an hour. That's less than minimum wage. Let's say that it only takes them 15 minutes for $3. That's $12 an hour. Not to mention the gas that they use. So see, these are the things that people like that aren't thinking about. They just say, I paid a fee. They need to bring it to me. Okay. How about convenience? If you go to a supermarket and spend the time to walk around and get the things that you need and bring it to the register and bring it home and drive and this and that, that bag of chips is like $1 less. I mean, you go to 7-Eleven or any convenience store, it's $1 more. Do you know why? It's fucking convenience. You're paying for convenience. So what if your kid is sick? Okay, your kid is sick. You're a single parent, and you're like, man, I'm running around with this kid. I can't do dinner today. I would really like it delivered. What is your time worth? You grabbing the kid, bringing him in the car seat, making sure he's okay, and the hassle about all that, going, driving there, waiting, getting in it, driving back, and dealing with taking the kid back, all of that in between. How much is that worth to you to not do that in a time like that? That's what you need to give them. Okay? Because if your time is worth something, their time is worth something. But if you are in the bubble, you're not even thinking about them. You're just thinking, I want my fucking food. I want it fucking now. And that's why you get cold McDonald's. And that's why it's sitting there, because people are not going to drive and bring it to your house, even for a 4-mile trip, for fucking $3. So what you're paying is not what they're getting. And you're not really understanding that, because you're in the bubble, because you're not thinking outside of what your needs and your wants. That's part of the bubble. So overall, your actions affect more than just you and the things around you. Your actions have a major ripple effect in the way that we treat each other and the way that we see things. So if you were going to go to a restaurant, you've got a $30, or the diner, let's say, and you got a $30 tab, and you're gonna give them $5. Why can't you do that for the person delivering it to your house? What doesn't make sense, right? This because now you're in your house, you're in your comfort zone, you're in your bubble. If the waitresses does a great job and the food's on time and they take care of you and the food's hot and they make sure they're not every driver is a wonderful driver, and not every waitress or server is a wonderful server, but the ones that are, you compensate them for making things pleasant and timely, right? Okay, well, now you're in your house. Same shit. Now take that and go outside. Go to get your cigarettes and coffee in the morning and there's a line. Whose fault is that? Is it the cashier's fault? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe it's 5 o'clock in the morning and they're fucking tired too, because you woke up at 4:30 and you're out at 5. They woke up at 4 to open up the store to get things done. Did you think about that? No, you didn't, because you are here. The things that go on outside of your bubble are not your concern, but they really should be, because that they have an effect that you really don't normally think about. I too myself am limited to the extent of my own imagination when it comes to thinking about the consequences and the things that happen after I take an action. That's why I try to think a little bit. I try to think about these things. So I'm not saying I'm fucking awesome and better than you or holy or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying think. Think outside of what you are able to think, and say to yourself, what am I putting out in this world? Am I putting out positivity? Maybe the positivity that you put out makes a person's day, and they go on that whole pay it forward. It doesn't even have to be paying. Just move it along. Bring it. Put yourself in the positions of somebody that aren't doing as well as you. It doesn't even mean financially. All right? There are people out there struggling with things that don't have anything to do with finances. And you coming up and being in a shitty mood because you're late for something, that's nothing compared to the 100 things that they're dealing with. They don't need to deal with your shit too. That's fucked up. It really is. So what are you putting out in this world? How are you thinking? What is your perspective? Is your perspective one that if something outside your bubble threatens your bubble, are you going to just go with the lie and say, I don't accept that as factual, or I don't accept that as a valid perspective just because it's not happening to you, that's unfair. And you're limiting yourself. That's the bubble. That's what I'm talking about. And hopefully, maybe I could get people thinking a little bit outside of that and saying, you know, let me start thinking that way. Let me start thinking about how my actions affect other people and how my actions ripple out. The good actions are going to be good. The good actions can save a life, dude. And your bad actions can ripple to taking one. But that's outside your bubble.